When you look around the world, citizens are rallying, asking for better democracy everywhere. And I think Canadians as well. We can't just take democracy for granted, that it's something that we have. We have to take ownership of it. There's always ways to improve democracy.
The Electoral Reform Conference that's going on here today is, I guess you could call it the beginning of deliberations concerning how exactly to pursue the change in the federal election system. And of course, the Liberal Party said that the 2015 federal election was going to be the last one wherein we use the first past the post system.
So we're at this moment where there's been a promise to change the system by 2019, and we want to include as many people in this debate. We want to make sure that whatever system is enacted is one that is representative of Canadians and will improve our democracy going forward.
So we started the morning with experts and advocates, people who think a lot about electoral reform, thinking about the kinds of things that we need to think through as we go down this process, from how people vote to the kinds of governments we'll form.
When we vote in an election, we don't vote for an ideology, we vote for a person who represents us in the legislature. And so whatever system we choose to go with cannot remove that accountability at the local level of a politician to the people that they represent.
Clearly there has to be a considerable amount of work determining which system to transition to, which benefits Canadians the most, and which could potentially benefit any particular party the most, which of course is something that we all have to be aware of.
Most people here today were in agreement that the government needs at least another party, if not two, to agree with them on the change that we're going to have. And once you have some multi-partisan support for a different system, I think it changes the confidence that Canadians will have in what those changes are.
You have roughly 3 out of 5 Canadians who voted and who do not feel that they're part of the power. So anything that moves us towards a situation that makes more Canadians engaged and makes them pay more attention to what is happening in Ottawa is definitely a win.
And then we were joined by Mark Holland, Parliamentary Secretary for Democratic Reform, who engaged in a very thoughtful, very dynamic discussion with questions from a whole range of people. And I think the conversation was really thoughtful, interesting, and open. So I was really pleased with that.
I would really like to see more youth involved in this, more women and more minorities involved in this conversation too. So I think any effort by institutions, by the government to try to include those groups would be really beneficial.
When you wash away all of the technical terms, all the minutiae, all the specific laws and regulations, we get down to a question of how should this democracy operate? And you don't need technical terms to have that discussion, right? So you can participate in that conversation without using any of the technical terms.
To have this many experts in one room talking about the possibility of electoral reform, what that looks like, I think was an incredible moment in this process. I'm not sure that we came to any consensus, but we feel really hopeful.